right, let's do priming. Everybody start to hop. Let's go. Hands up. Voices. Oh, Lord! Let's go. Thank you, guys. Today we're going to go over a sales cycle. Who was here for Miller's prospecting the other day, his prospecting class? Who was present for that? That's it? Who's using any of that information? Who was not here for Mike Miller's prospecting?
It's a dope book.
You can't have been here and not been here. It's not possible. You were either here or you were not here. Who was here for Mike Miller's prospecting class? Okay, who was not here? Okay, so we might have Mike go through prospecting one more time. We're going to go through the basics of the sales cycle. And just kind of a preface, you guys online, the Vivint training manual is on there. It's literally, I was reading this to Misty last night, and she's like, that's all you teach. And I'm like, because that's who I am. I literally just follow the principles off what I learned when I came into the industry. Okay, so I'm going to teach off of what I've taught off of my whole career that's made me incredibly successful, and it's the sales cycle. I'm going to go through the basics of the sales cycle with you guys. So there's prospecting, which is the art of finding the most likely client in the moment. There's qualifying, which is the art of revealing direction. Presenting, which is the art of building value. Objections, the art of overcoming objections. Closing, the art of relieving pressure. Okay, and we know that the sales cycle works in both directions, right? You've all heard me say that my main objective, the moment I'm already closing, the moment you open the door, I'm closing. Because the number one objective I have there, other than figuring out why you don't have solar, is lowering pressure. The lower the pressure during the entire sales process, the further out of lizard brain you are and the more into cognitive thinking you are. So my objective is always to start at the end. I'm always lowering pressure. Okay, now there's different sales processes. What I've learned in my career, and especially in solar, that what I'm trying to do with my qualifying is shoot through the sales cycle to objections. Because in solar, we know a few things, right? When we walk up to the door or the house and there's no solar on it, we know one thing about the person. What do we know? They don't want solar. Because if they wanted it, they'd have it. So they don't want it. And so when I'm qualifying, revealing direction, my main objective is to find out what their objections are to solar. Right? And there's a lot that can be in there. So we're going to remove smoke screens from the conversation right now, and we're going to talk about objections and conditions, right? There's very few times people are going to have a condition. Okay, the basic conditions for a homeowner that doesn't want solar that I'm going to consider a real condition, the main one is they have credit. Or I cannot get my hands on the decision maker. That's a condition. If it's just impossible for me to find them, get them to sit down at a table, that's an objection that I can't overcome because that person's not just going to come home and sign off on a new $70,000 solar system that they didn't do. But other than that, most everything that I'm dealing with is an objection. And I start to think about objections as buying questions because I'll get them to start asking buying questions based on what I'm revealing from their objection. Right? And so if I'm literally thinking about this for what it is, so I'm just going to read this. Qualifying in sales, time is money, and it's limited. Qualifying is the skill of identifying which prospects are most worth your time. Qualifying will also help you direct your pitch. Taking the gold mine metaphor one step further, qualifying tells us whether or not the shiny thing we see in the rock is gold or just a play of light. If it's gold, qualifying then helps us figure out how to go about extracting the gold or how to move forward in the sale. There's two components to this. So this is what we were talking about the last week. One component is I'm qualifying the human being that I'm standing in front of. Are they cognitive? Are they logical? Are they emotionally stable? Are they worth talking to? Are they engaging with me in a rational, realistic conversation, or are they far out in left field? Right? Because we all know we're going to have people who are going to be standing there and they just love to argue, all the stuff we've talked about. They've been waiting for you to come by. They want more of you to come by so they can tell all of us what they think about us and that they don't want the solar. And they'll just argue and argue and argue, and they have a problem for every solution. That's not your customer, and that person is going to lower your battery. So when I'm prospecting, I'm looking for a few things. I'm looking for a homeowner that's home with good credit. When I move into qualifying, I'm qualifying two things. I'm qualifying the human being that I'm standing in front of. And then after I've qualified you to determine that you are a logical, rational, realistic human being that will engage with me in a conversation, I need to figure out why you don't have solar. I just had a conversation with Mike the other night, and we were talking about how long you've knocked doors, and you kind of get a spidey sense. And what we talked about is sometimes a spidey sense can actually be dangerous. But you start to get a sense fast, within seconds. So just like I'm being judged within the first 4 seconds, I'm being judged within the first 8 seconds, I'm being judged within the first 15 seconds, I'm doing the same thing to them. My paradigm isn't just because you're standing there talking to me, I need to try and sell you solar. I'm fine with canceling you out. No solar for you. Thanks for coming to the door. Have a good day. You're irrational. You're not well spoken. You're emotional. You're too angry. I can't calm you down. You have a problem for every solution. I don't need to deal with you either. I'm fine saying no to you. No solar for you. You don't get any of my energy. You don't get any of my cheaper electricity. You don't get any of my anything. You don't get any more of me. Have a good day. Thanks for coming to the door. So I'm looking for that in the person as I'm qualifying them. That's imperative for you guys to pay attention to. The next piece of that is what is wrong, right? I'm diagnosing. Why don't you have solar? We're going to talk about this stuff over and over and over and over. Because every day we do door approach, I watch you guys do what all of us do when we first start and until we start to own qualifying. You pitch, and you pitch, and you pitch, and you pitch, and you're not answering the questions or the problems that they have. Okay, and I told you guys today in solar school some of this was going to be redundant. It's important for me to help you understand why you're doing it, because that's what will make you be better. Okay, what's happening to most of you as this is happening is you're hearing the question, you're hearing the problem, you're hearing the objection, but you don't have a significant of enough answer or a logical enough answer or the correct answer or the correct anecdote to their problem. So your brain instantly falls back into its comfort zone and it starts pitching. And so I told you I didn't want to have two bills, and you don't know how to overcome that objection or that concern or build legitimacy in it. And so the next thing you're doing is like, what do I know? I know about the tax credit. Well, listen to the tax credit. I know about a PPA. Have you ever heard about the PPA? I know about we got warranties. I'm the customer. I'm standing there like, I just told you Cousin Joe has two bills, and so does my mom in California, and I don't want two bills, and you're talking about a tax credit. You're talking about roof warranties. You're out in left field. I'm on home plate. You're not talking about anything that concerns me, and you're doing that more than likely because you heard what they said and you have not created the correct anecdote. So when I tell you guys that you need to be cognitive, you need to take notes, you need to be logical, you need to pay attention to what's happening door to door to door, and you need to focus on the conversations, not all of the other doors. Because they don't matter. If a person doesn't come out and have a conversation with me, they just open the door, blah, 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 chihuahua, whatever, mom, dad yelling, screaming, and they shut the door. That's not a conversation. A conversation is when I have seen their metaverbal calm down. They have gone from lizard brain to cognitive brain, and we have engaged in a conversation where I'm asking questions and they're giving answers, and they're asking questions and I'm giving answers. That's a conversation. That's what I need you to focus on. And in those moments, when you're hearing problems or objections or buying questions, and pay attention to what you're doing. If you're not answering it correctly, it's because you don't know it well enough. And if you don't know it well enough, we need to know that you don't know it well enough so we can give you the correct anecdote. The more often those conversations happen and you get into legitimate, logical conversations that address the case specific of what they're talking about, the more times you'll win that battle. The more times you're in left field, right? So who's done this? Just gone through the whole day, had 5 or 6 conversations, couldn't close anybody's face. Who's done it? Why do you think that was? It was because you were not engaging in the conversation correctly. From my paradigm, I get to see people knock the same neighborhoods, the same houses, in the same month, the same new homeowners, the same old homeowners, and I watch a certain percentage fail and a certain percentage succeed. And there are components in that. Some of it is how they're carrying themselves spiritually. Are they fit emotionally? Are they checked into the game that day? But the other big component of it is what they're doing at the door, what they're saying at the door, what they're hearing at the door, and how they're responding at the door. So qualifying is an intricate part of your success on a door or not on a door. The people in this room right now, outside of their spiritual fitness, that are having more success than other people, is generally going to be 80% of this is based on how well they are qualifying at the door, meaning identifying what the customer's problem is, and then how logically and factually and how much legitimacy they can provide that customer in changing the way the person feels about what they just said. That's it. I'm better at it than you. That's why you're talking to 6 and getting 0, and I'm talking to 6 and getting 3. Because I'm listening and paying attention. So when we talk about qualifying, you guys need to own the sales cycle. When I'm on doors, when I'm in houses, when I'm in recruiting, everything's the sales cycle. Recruiting is the sales cycle. Purely. Find somebody who wants to work in door to door. Figure out what they're doing now, how they feel about it, how they feel about their income, how they feel about their life, how they feel about their future. Figure out what their objections would be to moving into the door-to-door world. Then base value on what we can offer them as a human being, and then close them. Everything we do is the sales cycle. All of it. You're engaged in sales cycles multiple times a day. So the better you understand and own it on the door, the better cognitive behavior you'll have, meaning approaching the game logically. You can diagnose what's happening to you on doors in the sales cycle if you understand it better. Does that make sense? Roman, you've been listening to the sales cycle for a couple years. How has understanding and knowing the sales cycle helped you?
Everything. I sold my sister math, like just at the dinner table.
Unpack that for me. You sold your sister math.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, time to do homework. I see that, she's getting a little bit upset, frustrated about it. Mm-hmm. I'm like, okay, so you don't like this subject, the other subjects you do like. What's going on with math? Mm-hmm. It's like, I just don't
qualifying
like the need for it.
Okay.
Like, okay. We're doing division, so it's like, okay, so let's just say you're working for me. How much money are you going to get paid? $8, because that's like what it was. Mm-hmm. You're working 40 hours a week. How do you know that you're getting paid properly? Mm-hmm. And then we're just able to break it down, make it more simpler, and have her actually understand what division actually was,
build value,
and how it's supposed to be effective in her life, and how she can use that for other things, what she is doing. Presenting,
building value. How have you used it on doors? You've gotten better over the last couple months. How has the sales cycle helped you analyze getting better?
Just seeing what their issue is.
What about seeing what your issue is?
Yeah, absolutely.
Are you able to diagnose where you're at in your own sales cycle?
Yeah.
So this is relevant in your personal life, in your business life, in every area of your life. For me, when I'm talking to you guys, or what I've taught the leadership to do, is just diagnose what's happening in the sales cycle. If I told you guys that I was knocking 100 doors a day, and talking to 25 people, and I had 0 accounts created, what would you think my problem was? Do you think it's prospecting? No. Do you think it's qualifying and objections? Probably, right? Now, if I told you I was knocking 100 doors a day and I talked to 1 person, what's my problem? Prospecting. And then, but if I did 100 and talked to 25, then we got to sit down. You talked to 25. What were the qualifications? What was going on? Then I can diagnose. Is it your presentation? What's your pitch? Are you asking questions? So I can diagnose you, but you can diagnose yourself within the sales cycle. That's why understanding it and being cognitive are so important. Okay, so we're in now asking questions. Okay, what's wrong with you? Why don't you have solar? Okay, it's going to reveal an objection. Sales guru Tom Hopkins has said this: qualifying and selling. In selling, qualifying your prospects, meaning finding out who they are, what they have, and what they need. Customers are more likely to buy your product if you can accurately identify their needs and paint a picture of how their product satisfies what's important to them. Qualifying is a process that helps us understand the prospects and make our presentation more persuasive. Nothing is more important in the sales process than the customer. How they feel, what they think, what they need. Understanding that, I can help build value specifically based on what that human being in front of me has said. Assuming that everybody has the same problem is rookie behavior. They do. In general, there's 6 objections, so they all share similar things. But I need to understand what they think, what made them think that, who told them that, how long have they thought that for, where'd that rationale come from, specifically from that human being, and then I need to have the anecdotes to overcome that with logic. And that's where you guys come in. If you screw a door up and you have that conversation in your, see him right here, this right here, notepad, see that notepad? That's powerful. That's in your car. I had that in my car. I didn't get it? The fuck does that mean? I want to know, what does that mean? Why didn't I overcome that? What's the anecdote? And then over time, I built up 2 or 3 different anecdotes for each one of these situations, which are generally metaphors for me, to help bring them into rationale. Does that make sense? Does anybody have any takeaways from... So Nick, over your career, I've seen you transform from showing up and throwing up to qualifying. How has qualifying changed for you in your paradigm of it, and how have you used it to sell?
I don't even come off as a salesperson. I just come off as a concerned friend. They start, they'll quickly give me the information after, I made it clear I'm just here to ask questions, see where you guys are at, and then it's... Sits are more qualified, they know why I'm there. It's not like I'm just there to drop off some information for them. Like the expectations are set.
It's different. Yep. And so I want you guys to think about almost any other doctor. You walk in, you don't know anything about each other. Concerned friend's one way to look at it. The doctor's another way to look at it. Just here to diagnose the problem. If he's using logic and asking me the correct questions on what's specifically ailing me, and answering those logically and helping me come to a conclusion of why he can help me change that. Okay, now let's talk about a real estate agent. Who owns a house? Okay, do we all know that real estate agents, who wants to own a house that doesn't? Okay, do we all know that real estate agents are salespeople and they make money? When you think of a real estate agent, do you think of like some slimy, like sales creature? Or do you think like, I probably need a real estate agent to help me kind of navigate through a situation that I have never bought a house. I need to understand what the red tape is. What does the credit look like? I need to understand how does it work? What is the process? How does the mortgage work? How does the interest rates apply to that? What happens immediately, because it's a different perspective, you're going shopping for a real estate agent, but you need to take that and use that to your advantage on the doors. You're immediately trying to create legitimacy and ask questions. And when you ask questions, you become the doctor. You become the real estate agent. You become the trusted professional or the trusted friend. immediately because you're engaged in what's specifically wrong with that person. And that creates legitimacy, that creates trust, that gets them out of lizard brain, that gets them into cognitive thinking, and then the better your anecdotes are in those moments, the faster you can help change their paradigm. And that's what you're trying to do. Okay, guys, we're going to go on to, I put objections here because in solar, as opposed to alarms on the door, it's a different approach. In alarms, hey, my name's Lee. I'm the alarm manager. I'm stopping by real quick because you guys signed up with ADT back in 2015. Which one of these panels did you guys use? Cool, and that's why I'm stopping by. You guys have some of the old equipment. Did you put that by the door or by the garage? Okay, let me just step in real quick. So show me where it's at. And then, have you guys looked at like the cameras and stuff?
No, they didn't have that.
Yeah, they didn't, but you've seen them, right? Like the doorbell cameras and like, so that we got some cool stuff out for you. In an alarm, I'm pushing through and I'm building value first and then just determining objections because I'm at the table at the same moment I got to the house. In solar, there's a problem that has to be solved. They don't want it, or it'd be on the roof. If they wanted it, they'd be on the roof. They have come to a conclusion based on factual or infactual information, based on real or fake information. They have come to a conclusion. They have a paradigm, they have a view of solar, and I need to know what it is as fast as possible so that I can change the way that they view it. Objections. I'm going to base on the door in solar my presentation on what their objections are. Period. I'm not going to assume anything about them, nothing. I'm not going to assume they're married. I'm not going to assume anything. That they're gay, that they're straight, that they're rich, that they're poor, they have good credit, they have bad credit. I'm going to qualify all of that. I'm going to find out all of that information. And the one thing I know is that they don't have solar because they don't want it. Because if they wanted it and they got good credit, they'd have it. And so that's what I'm basing my presentation on. I'm trying to change the way they think logically about solar. And it's not complicated. If you guys, anybody that's been on doors with me, I'm not on this stuff for like 4 hours. I'll identify an objection. I'll give a 1-minute anecdote for that that's logical, that has legitimacy. I'll watch them. I'll see if they're checked in with me. I'll overcome it. I'll button it down, and I'll move into a close. And if there's another problem, I'll find out what that is. So we're going to talk about objections, and what I want you guys to think about objections is that your objections are going to be what you're basing your presentation off of. Because nothing else matters. Nothing else matters. If I think I don't want solar on my house because I'm going to have roof leaks, you can tell me about everything. You can tell me it's free. You can tell me it's great. You can tell me I'm going to get a tax credit. You can tell me I got a PPA. You can tell me I got a great cash deal. You can tell me all your neighbors love it. Tell me whatever you want. I don't want it. You know why I don't want it? Because I don't want roof leaks. And you're in left field. So I'm identifying specifically what my objection is or my objections. Identifying, isolate, and overcome, close. That's it. But once I identify, I'm basing my presentation solely off this. Nothing else matters. Because I'm not walking into their house selling them solar right now, for the most part. Sometimes there's same-day closes, but the majority of solar closes are not done same day. Okay? Just read this really quick. Overcoming objections. Learning to overcome objections is a vital part of the sales process. When done properly, this skill can progress the sale and solidify your customer as you reveal to them your knowledge and credibility about solar services. The best sales reps are problem solvers, and they see objections as the windows into the minds of their customers. Think about that. That statement is powerful. A window into the mind of your customer. What is more powerful than that? Why don't you have solar? Tell me. You're just giving me ammunition that helps me sell your face. Period. It's a window into the mind of the customer. The questions and reservations they might have can lead you into presenting important selling points, and the fact many sales reps will see the customer's first legitimate objection as the moment the sale actually begins, because objections reveal the customer is listening and moving with you through the sales process. Learning to transform objections into sales points is arguably the most difficult but most critical skill you will learn within sales. You will not close the sale if you have not resolved the customer's objection, period. Who's set a deal that they fought to set and then texted their closer and said, this is a real problem. It's a problem. I couldn't overcome it, but they're going to sit down with you. And then the closer gets there and doesn't close it and calls you back and said it didn't close because of what you said. Who's done that? Who's had that happen? Almost all of you. And it's because if an objection is on the table, the deal will not close. And if it does close, they will get second thoughts and they will cancel it. The objection has to be overcome. If there's an objection on the table, there's no deal. So if you think about this for exactly what it is, I'm engaging with you to find out the window of your mind, what's your paradigm? And you guys have heard me say this a lot. Two men are standing on the ocean, on the beach. Both men are looking at the horizon. One man thinks the world is flat. One man knows the world is round. Two men, same view, same situation. In reality, the reality is reality. But they have two completely different understandings of the same reality. That's the paradigm. When you look at what's the window of the mind, and when we talk about qualifying, I'm going into your mind to understand what's wrong inside there. And once I figure out what's wrong inside there, I need to have extremely adequate, logical, factual points and use metaphors to check you into reality and change your mind to say, I don't need to sell you right now. I need you to think, maybe the world is round. Maybe it is round. How do you know it's round? Well, you see us all going out fishing? Yeah. Has anybody came back and said half the crew fell off the waterfall? No. Okay. I just need you to get in the boat a little bit. We're going to go out a little bit and slowly. So on the door, what I'm trying to do is understand their paradigm and create enough curiosity for them to say, maybe what I thought was not right, because what he said or she said was logical and it made sense. It seemed factual and it seemed trustworthy. So now my interest is piqued. So, yeah, I want to sit down and see what it looks like for real because I trust you and that made sense. That's a paradigm shift. Okay? So when you look at your process, Elijah, talk to me about really quick paradigm shifts before I move on. How have you affected paradigm shifts in not just your setting, but your closing, the entire sales process?
From a customer standpoint?
Yep. Like watching them change their paradigm.
Really, it's just them seeing that there's another option. I think the easiest way to do it is to not force it upon them, but to let them go through it themselves by using question-based selling, answering their question, but also digging deeper into asking them specific questions, getting them to understand, hey, right now you're locked into a specific situation right here. All I'm here to do is just show you a secondary option. If it makes sense, it makes sense. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm not going to pressure you into it, but when it's a very relaxed setting and they get to come to their mind of saying, hey, well, actually, solar does make sense. Everything that I'm hearing is kind of full of shit. The biggest two concerns that most customers run across is, the two builds and moving. Okay, the moving is the old school solar leases. The thing that said it is right. I'm not signing up for a lease, so don't worry about that.
Yep.
The second thing, I'm explaining kilowatt hours. It's just pure energy. If you're only two builds because you don't have enough, and then when they finally understand that, they're quick, like, okay, solar does make sense.
How powerful is a paradigm shift?
Huge. It almost gets to a point to where you don't have to close them. They
Close themselves.
Yeah.
That's right. How many deals have you closed where you knew you didn't change the paradigm and they canceled?
How many?
It's happened, right?
Plenty of times.
It's happened. So if you're in this room, you're a closer. If you're setting leads, you're a closer. You're closing appointments. That's what you're doing. Closing, and again, I'm gonna review closing with you. Obviously, it's the art of relieving pressure. That's the main definition of closing. But when we talk about what's a closer's like, hey, bro, sounds dope, dude. Super excited. I've been waiting for one of you guys to come by. Just excited about getting solar. I'll be here Friday. That's not closing. That's setting an appointment. Closing is when the rubber hits the road. This all sounds real good, bro, but I'm just not ready right now. Okay, no, that's fine. I can understand you're not ready right now. When you say you're not ready, can I just ask you a couple questions really quick? So we've kind of talked about quite a few things. I helped explain the roof situation, the two bills situation. With that being said, on a 1 to 10, where are you at? I'm going to go into a closing process. So I'm going to review in a closing process. When I'm actually in a closing cycle, what I've done is I've gone to close and I've gotten a new objection. Something, he's put his foot in the door in my sales cycle. I'm closing your face, your foot goes in the door. Actually, I'm just gonna think about it. Boom, perfect. Get your foot out of the door. Let me just ask you a couple questions. Closing is the ability to dig in and get comfortable in uncomfortable situations and help push people past their buying resistances, whether that's at the door or on the table. That's closing, is digging in, right? But there are times when I close somebody and I know I have not overcome their objection. And they can just be too nice. And they're like, yep, okay, fine, yes, tomorrow night, 6 o'clock, we'll be here. I hate you. I wish you weren't going to come over here tomorrow night. But I will be here. Because I have not changed their paradigm. I have not changed what they felt. I have not changed what they thought. And I've also been, right, because I understand buying resistance, and that's one of the things that I'm, as a salesperson, fighting in a sales process at any level of it, buying resistance. And so I will push. I told you guys, we're at Vivint. We would practice right now. Just put your feet in between that chair and lock them in. Lock your feet into that chair. Put them behind it. One of them behind. Lock it in. Well, what we would train on closing, right, is it's locking in your feet into the closing process, meaning that you're going to stand up and kick me out, or you're going to buy this alarm. Well, in solar, the same thing, and not in a dirty way, not in an unethical way. People have this buying resistance. Sometimes people are on an 8, and they want it and they need it, but they just can't make a decision because they just have all of this crap going on, indecision and analysis paralysis. But I've been in sales processes where I've gone through a close and I knew I didn't change their paradigm, and I knew walking out the door, that's a cancel. That's a cancel. So in my career, I stopped doing that. I'm just not going to engage in it. Like, if I can't change your paradigm mentally, if I can't help you think the way that I think logically about inflation, about savings, about changing the value of your house, about empowering you with owning your own commodity, if I can't get you to see that, I don't want to do a deal with you, because I already know what's going to happen. You're going to do the deal because you just, and then you're going to cancel it. No deal. I don't need to do it. So understanding paradigms and objections and the window into your customer's mind is imperative for you guys. And then coming up with logical anecdotes that help people come to conclusions to change their paradigm is the biggest weapon that you have. When it says this, it's not kidding. You guys wonder why I always talk about the same stuff? Because none of you, most of you, some of the leaders and the people who've been in here are really good at it, but they got good at it from us all talking about it all the time. When it says it's one of the hardest things for people to learn how to do, it means it. One of the reasons is, intrinsically, we want to just show up and tell everybody how awesome the solar is. That's show up and throw up. That's rookie behavior. And then you come into a new bell curve where you're like, okay, that's not working. I need to ask them questions. Why don't you want the solar? I got set of that. And you're like, I don't really know the answer to that. Have you heard about the tax credit? And so you're just kind of out there fumbling around. So when I say use cognitive thinking and be cognitive of what's happening on your doors, the actual doors, I mean it. You have to come up with anecdotes. You have to start to listen not just to what they're saying, but to what they're meaning. And then get a like-mindedness and get them to relate to what you're saying, calm everything down, and then sell them by changing their paradigm. That's a sell. Selling is changing the way somebody feels about your product, truly. Not tricking them, not lying to them, not bullshitting them. Genuinely understanding how they feel and then building value on your product so that they now want to purchase it because they've changed the way they feel. Okay? So, Presentation. Guys, I've often wondered what is the most important part of the sales cycle. I still believe that qualifying is the most important part of the sales cycle. But if you qualify and you reveal objections and you're not able to build value, so what's the definition of presentation? Art of building value. If I understand how you feel, but I can't, and I can help you think the way that I think, but I can't make you value what I'm selling, you don't want to buy it. You guys have heard me say this a lot. Zig Ziglar says, I'm not going to give you my big stack of money for your little stack of benefits. I don't want to do it. Who's had a customer not sell because they were only going to save $6 a month? What's happened there is that in the presentation, someone was not able to build value on the long-term savings. Because if the customer is left thinking that the only value in a solar system is monthly savings, they're wrong. And it's the salesperson's fault. Now, that being said, not every single human is fully logical and can comprehend money. That's why a lot of people are poor mentally, is because they're poor mentally. They can't fathom money. And they don't understand compound inflation. They don't understand compound interest. They don't understand how powerful those waves are. They're powerful, but they don't get it. But if somebody thinks the only value in a solar system, I looked at a proposal. Has anybody been by? Yes, I actually had XYZ company in, and they showed me a proposal. Perfect. What made you not want it? Well, the system was $20,000, $40,000, and I was only saving $6 a month. As a knocker on doors, my rabbit ears are way up now. So I'm like, perfect. You had a really crappy salesperson, and they were not able to explain the value of solar to you. And then I'm going to go into, did they explain compound inflation to you? Do you understand inflation? How much are you paying now? Do you know how much you'll be paying in 5 years? Do you know how much you'll be paying in 10 years? Let me ask you a stupid question. How long have you been driving? Okay, 10 years. How much was gas 10 years ago? Okay, $1.99. If I had a gas card for $1.99 10 years ago, and it was for 25 years, and after that gas was free, would you have been interested in it? Or would you say, no, I don't want the $1.99 because gas is $1.99 now? And they're always going to say, well, I'd want it. Why do you want it? Well, because you know that if you're paying $1.99 in 5 years, $1.99 in 10 years, so what I'm doing, now I'm building value where someone else wasn't able to build value. Did you know that solar increases the value of your home? Zillow and Redfin have shown that solar, right? So now I'm going into the value cast because the person that I'm standing in front of had one value cast of solar. But I'm determining that by qualifying. When I qualified, they told me their objection. I saw a proposal and I didn't see the value. And from that, I have revealed direction, and I'm pitching to that person specifically on what will build value with them. And that's that they think the only value in a solar system is that you're going to save $6 a month. And they had a misconception that when you buy solar, your power bill should be $200 and your solar bill should only be $50. Well, that's because of fake advertising. So their value cast is wrong. So when I'm selling them, selling is presenting value, so I'm presenting based on what they said. So if you start to follow the logic from qualifying to identifying an objection and then presenting based on the factual information that that person has given me, because I've gone into the window of their mind, you start to see the power of actually selling. Okay? So we'll read this really quick. The presentation is the most adaptive of the steps in the sales cycle, meaning it will probably change most from sale to sale because it relies on you properly qualifying potential customers. Gang, the reason that the Vivint training manual is one of the greatest manifestos ever written in the history of door-to-door is because how simply and eloquently it is written and how powerful every single sentence in it is. That's powerful. How many times, we just talked about pitch today. What should you never do about your pitch? Don't change your pitch. Get your pitch, lock it down. Hey, how you doing today? My name's Liam. I'm here with Legacy Power. Working with a couple of your neighbors down the street, doing a solar project. I'm just stopping through, talking to some of the homeowners. Mind if I ask how long have you guys owned the house here? Great, 3 years. So in 3 years, I'm sure I'm not the first solar guy. What's the good, the bad, and the ugly? What's held you guys back? I'm immediately in a qualifying process. From that point forward, everything is adaptive. Everything. Nothing's the same. No two conversations I have on a door. My pitch is based on who I am, who I'm with, what I'm doing. I've identified myself. I've used my metaverbal communications, my smile, and my eyes to make it hard to be mean to stop your lizard brain. And I've immediately asked you a question to make you engage cognitive thinking. And I'm going to engage in a question-based selling to determine why you don't have solar on your home right now. So that's the first part of my pitch. It's just based on being a figure of authority, knowing exactly what I'm going to say, having my tonality and my metaverbal the same. My tonality and my metaverbal are the only things that change based on who answers the door. If it's a little old lady in her 70s, I'm going to be a lot calmer. How you doing today, ma'am? My name's Lee. I'm out here with Legacy Power, so I'm working with your neighbor. If it's some big tattooed dude like me, how you doing today, bro? Awesome, man. My name's Lee, right? My tonality and my metaverbals will change, but my pitch never changes. The moment my pitch is over, everything's free will, all of it. Everything's happening based on the conversation that I'm having with the human being in front of me. And if you think your job is to stand there and pitch them, you have the wrong paradigm of your job. Your job is to stand there and qualify them and understand why they don't have solar, diagnose the problem, and then prescribe a logical answer. And so the faster you get to that, the better off you'll be, okay? So the presentation is also where you will spend most of your time digging in to make the sale as you introduce a potential customer to yourself, to Legacy Power, and the 2 types of solar products. Your presentation should strive to be simple and clear and must cater to the particular audience you are presenting to. You will not be effective if you are not aware of your customers' situations or concerns. So you start to see the web, how intricate, how much of an ecosystem the sales cycle is. Every part of it is connected to every other part of it. As you get better in sales, as you get better in doors, you will start to see everything that you're doing as a direct presentation that's in line with you walking the customer through a situation, right? I got angry person opens door. Break that. Smoke screen. Don't want it. Fake news. I know. Nobody wants it. Engage in conversation. Understand their paradigm. Change their paradigm. Close the deal. That's it. That's what I'm doing. I'm just going through a sale. And when I fail, I can go back and see, where did I fail? Your presentation at the door should motivate customers to progress towards a decision to set an appointment. You can't, listen, you got this. I have read this manual for 7 years. And in 7 years, every time I read it last night, and I just read it again today, and when I just read it, I go, that's fucking genius. Whoever wrote this is the Mozart of door-to-door, because it's so simple. Your presentation should be there to motivate, but how can you motivate them if your presentation is not contoured towards their problem specifically? So when you start to look at the ecosystem and the importance of each one of these steps, they're vital within each other. And the more you understand each one of the steps and you enact each one of the steps and are in that part of the sales cycle with the person, the next part is so simple. And this is when, who feels like they've just been out for weeks at a time and they just gone home every day and they're like, oh my God, the doors are so hard. Who's felt like that? Be honest. I used to feel like that too. Doors are so easy, guys. They're so easy. Once the thing clicks, and you're like, okay, just going to go out and talk. I'm going to knock, I personally knock between 10 and 15 doors an hour because I prospect very good, and I drive. But I just have it in my mind that I'm probably, if I knock 10 doors, and I generally only knock 2 cars home, especially in the daytime, I'm just cherry picking. That's all I'm looking for. I'm moving fast, but with intelligence. That's why I knock 10 doors, because I knock a lot in the day. When I get to those 10 doors, I will knock 10 doors, and 5 or 6 or 7 of the doors with 2 cars home will not answer the door. Nobody comes to the door. And so 3 people answer the door. And then I'm just going to engage in this conversation with those 3 people. I'm going to break through, smoke screen, smile, be happy, qualify, figure out what's wrong, try to change the paradigm, can or cannot, and then move on. It's easy. I'm not out fighting this war on doors. I got to knock 100 doors today, and why are any of these people? Well, first of all, if you're knocking any doors where there's not tire tracks that go into the driveway, this is just my opinion. A pretty good opinion. I've knocked a lot of doors. If you're knocking a door that you think is a homeowner and you have pretty solid evidence that there's no car in that garage and there's no cars in the driveway or on the street, that's stupid. That's stupid. That's dumb. You know why it's dumb? Because it's stupid. It's highly unlikely that 2 people that own a house, neither one of them own a car at all, and they're just in there chilling, taking Ubers everywhere, or the bus. Or that both of them are in the house and took their cars down to Fremont Street last night and parked them and Ubered home. And that's why there's no cars in the driveway. No, don't knock cars with no, just don't do it. It's stupid. But you have to understand, so what I'm prospecting for is that, and then the conversations that I have are just simple. I just know that I'm going to knock on a certain amount of doors that just aren't going to answer. And I need to do that for 7 or 8 hours a day. And then I'm going to talk to some people, and some people are going to buy what I'm selling, and some people aren't. And I'm just going to keep doing the exact same thing over and over and over. And then somebody asked me what, I think it was $92,000 was our biggest month in commission, Misty and I. And I know that I have the potential to go out and make $92,000 in a month. Sometimes it's $20,000. Sometimes it's been 10. Sometimes it was 5. Those in alarms. But it's a simple equation for me to come to, and so doors aren't this big, hard, arduous, difficult war that I'm doing. I'm approaching doors logically. I'm approaching doors with the sales cycle. I'm looking for the person most likely to buy in the moment. When I find that person, I'm going to engage in a qualifying process immediately. And if I can get them to have a conversation with me, I'm going to identify their objections, and I'm going to attempt to overcome their objections. And if I can, I can, and I win. And if I can't, I don't, and I move on. It's not even a loss. It's a learning. And that's just how I think about doors. So for me, and what I want for you guys to do is the more you understand this sales cycle, the simpler doors become. And doors actually get fun. I fuck with people on doors, guys. I get them. I'll ask them. I'll get them. I'll say shit. I'll use their own stuff on them. It's fun. It's like, well, you just said that all that made sense, and now you don't want to set an appointment with me. What's going on? A minute ago you were logical, and now we're not. What's happening? You got a problem for every. There's stuff I say to people. I use their information against them because I'm having fun on doors. Okay. So your presentation at the door should motivate a customer to progress towards the decision to set an appointment. I want you guys to think about that. And I want you to think about what it says down here. Okay? Remember, there are multiple factors that work to motivate someone to buy, including things like emotional state and your credibility as a sales rep. So we'll finish with this. What's the number one objection in sales? Legitimacy. In fact, in my current state of my career, I believe legitimacy to be the only objection. That's it. It's the legitimacy of me, it's the legitimacy of my company, or it's legitimacy of my offer. Jordan Belfort calls it the 3 10s. You're a 1 to 10 on all 3 of those things. I'm not presenting to one-leggers. If they say they're not interested, it's because I wasn't interesting, or I couldn't build value. If they say they don't need it, or they already have it, that's because I'm not able to build value to help them overcome switching from NV energy to solar. And I'm not talking to a decision maker. And money's not an issue. If money's the issue, it's because I couldn't convince them logically that they were going to save money or that there was no down payment. So those aren't even real objections. Those are my fault. Ultimate accountability. I couldn't convince you that there's no down payment. I couldn't convince you that switching from NV Energy to a PPA was a better decision for you and your family. I couldn't convince you, so no other objections exist but legitimacy. That's it. And what Belfort teaches is the legitimacy of rep, offer, company, or company offer. And if you're a 1 of 10 on any one of, if you're a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on any of those things, there's no deal. Meaning, if you don't trust me, you can't trust my company and you can't trust my offer. There's no way. Because I'm dealing with you. You're the person, I think you're going to rip me off. I don't want it. I don't trust anything about you. If you don't trust the company, how many of us have gotten deals because other companies had bad reviews? We got 4.8 in Vegas. We're doing good. That's legitimacy of company. The reason they kill the deal with the other company is because we have better reviews. We're the licensed contractor. You're a more professional person. They believe you. They believe your deal. They believe your money. They believe your product more. It's the same thing with any sales process. If there's no legitimacy, so the legitimacy starts with the credibility as you as a sales rep. So when we go into the ecosystem of these things, and I'm talking to you guys about not changing your pitch, why is that important? Because it instantly gives you legitimacy when you know exactly what you're going to say, and your metaverbal and your tonality follows that, and you look and talk and sound like a professional. And you're able to captivate the person in front of you quickly. Hey, how you doing today, man? Good. My name's Lee Barber. I'm out here with Legacy Power. So I'm working with your neighbor right down the street. We're doing a little solar project for them down there. I'm just stopping through, talking to some of their homeowners. This is all I say every single time. I instantly create legitimacy. I'm telling you, why do I do this? And again, I'll repeat it. The only wrong solar pitch is one that changes every week. That's a wrong solar pitch. So if you have that, that's wrong. A right solar pitch is finding something that works for you, that's legitimate, and that's honest, and that identifies who you are and what you're doing to the customer in a way that helps you transact with that person through a sales process. I have my preferred method, and it's instant combat. I'm here to talk to you about solar. Why don't you like it? Let's get it on. That's what I like. But I'm not trying to cross bridges of legitimacy, meaning I'm not making you think like, you're the solar guy. Well, actually, I'm here with the net metering. Have you heard about the meter thing? You know that, well, no, we're really just switching your bill. And they're just standing there like, you're the solar guy. That's a bridge of legitimacy. So they instantly have a mistrust because you're not being honest and upfront. That's my paradigm of solar. That's my paradigm of doors. At Vivint, we were trained, go for the throat. Go for the throat. I'm the alarm manager. Here to sell cameras and doorbells and glass break sensors. You got a gun? Can your dog shoot your gun when you're not here? What's the problem? Go for the throat. For me, that has always worked because I'm never crossing a bridge of legitimacy. They never had to wonder if I was the alarm guy. They never had to wonder if I was the solar guy. I am. Let's fight. Let's play chess. Let's get it on. So my legitimacy right off the bat starts with my pitch, my metaverbal, my tonality, identifying myself, and then engaging in that verbal chess match with that human being in front of me as fast as possible to qualify them to see if they're logical. See, now we can start to go down the track. Are they logical, cognitive human being who will have a realistic conversation with me? Okay, they are. What's the problem? Why don't you have solar? They tell me, can I overcome that and build value and change their paradigm? Yes, I did. Okay, perfect. Are you married? Do you have kids? Do you work? How long have you lived in the home? What days are you off? How is tomorrow at 6? Perfect. See you then. That's it. It's that simple, but that complicated. So when you engage in every portion of the sales cycle correctly, from having the same pitch, because it creates legitimacy, to walking them through these things, you will get more sales. You need to pay attention to what you're saying when they're saying something. If you're listening, quiet your mind, quiet your body, quiet your spirit, quiet the butterflies. I know this is the only person who's answered the door and talked to you in 4 days. I know. Shh. Calm down. Get into the sales cycle. When I'm in the process of this, and we'll end with this, everything I do on doors and in homes is 100% in the sales cycle. I won't let you take me out of it. And we're not talking about your dogs and your kids and your puppies and stuff for 3 hours. We'll reel you back in. That's great. I love your dogs. Solar. I know where I'm at in my sales cycle. I identify it when I'm on a door. I know where I'm at. I'm qualifying. Oh, I just got an objection. I tried to close. I got an objection. Ship. I'm back in qualifying. When you say that, what do you mean? Okay, perfect. Present. I overcame your objection. Go back to close. You don't want to close. Why can't we set the appointment? So let me just ask you a couple questions. I'm just in the clock of the sales cycle. My brain is working in the sales cycle constantly. So I'm in control of the situation because I know what I'm doing and I have direction. I'm in control. They know I'm in control because I'm the professional. I'm the doctor. I'm the real estate agent. I'm the professional. I have the information. I'm asking the questions. I'm prescribing the answers. And that's what I just try and do day in and day out. And so the more you guys understand this, the better you'll be. Some of you guys don't have all of the answers that we have. We don't know what you don't know, right? And so what Mike said was money. I will tell people the same stuff, and they will not believe me. They're going to believe their real estate agent. I just showed up on their door. Their real estate agent said, bro, my real estate agent said it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. I can't sell a house. They don't want to sell a house. I don't want it. You know why? Because it's a nightmare. I know, I grew up with my real estate agent. Who are you to tell me it's easy to sell a house? Well, let me just tell you. Yeah, you know what? I don't believe you. I believe my real estate friend. There's times when I'm presenting the same information and I cannot get through to people cognitively. And that's legitimacy. They don't trust the offer. And it doesn't just mean the offer that I'm presenting. It means the total offer of solar. Solar in general. So you guys have to understand, you're not just fighting you or the company or Legacy's offer. It's the total offer of solar. This is a thinking game. When people start this, they just think, oh, I'm just going to go knock the doors and tell all the great people. This is a chess match. This is a psychological, physical, metaverbal tonality chess match with human beings. Teresa and I are very different people.
Yeah.
Very different. But she's presenting a high level of legitimacy at the door. It's completely different than the way that I present because she's being authentic. She's being herself. She believes in herself. She believes in her product. She has knowledge of her product. She has knowledge of the sales cycle. She has knowledge of the communications that she's had with clients over and over and over. And so she is a professional, and so she presents as a professional, and her professional and my professional are two different people, but they're both highly professional. So this is what I want you guys to focus on. Sales cycle, go out and be yourself. Go out and have conversations. This is just a conversation with somebody that you care about. If you were explaining solar to your family member, you'd do the same thing. Why don't you want it? What's going on? What made you think that? Who told you that? How long have you thought that? That's actually not the way it is. Let me explain. You'd be sympathetic. You'd be empathetic. You'd have humility. You'd want to understand. If it was your grandmother or your brother or your sister telling you they didn't understand solar, you'd be like, what do you mean, idiot? Stupid idiot. You'd be like, when you say that, what do you mean? So be yourself and go out and have conversations and live in the sales cycle. All right, let's bring it in, guys. Thank you. All right, bring it in. Go, we are on me, notorious on you for 3. We are
notorious.
We are
Notorious.
We are
Notorious.
Let's go.